Hi, my name is Rohan. I am a computer science student at University of Illinois Chicago. I wanted to build something that will be useful in day-to-day life, but will not eat a lot of my time. So for this Christmas break, my side project is home automation with Google Home. So I would like to demo you the project and get to know your opinion about it and maybe a few more ideas. So first of all, I'll explain the entire architecture. Then I will demo you the project.
So Google Home acts as a front end which will accept voice commands, convert them into text, and this will be given to fancy home automation system for further processing. There are two ways to do it. Ideal way is to write a Google Home app, but I prefer dirty way to save time. So I have used IFTTT and connected Google Home with Adafruit IO MQTT. So my voice command in textual format will be published on the channel, and Fancy is running on the Raspberry Pi, and which is listening on the same channel. So if you want to give any command to the Fancy, the format will be like, hey Google, ask Fancy to whatever command you want to say. This will be given to Fancy. So this is the entire architecture. Raspberry Pi is the brain behind Fancy home automation system. Fancy is of course running on the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi also acts as a Wi-Fi router. It gets the internet connection over the Ethernet, and it distributes that over the Wi-Fi to all of our devices. On the Raspberry Pi, we have a PIR sensor for movement detection, person detection, and we also have a Bluetooth. So the way it works is want I want Fancy to understand that I am at home at any given point, right? So it will check my movements with the PIR sensor. In addition to that, in order to avoid any false alarm or any other issues, Raspberry Pi will also try to ping my phone over the Bluetooth just to confirm that I'm at home only. Based on that, it can take decision whether to turn off lights or whether to keep lights on, or whether to keep blinds on or whether to close them, things like that. So we have three different circuits. Which communicates with our Raspberry Pi over the Wi-Fi. So all of them use ESP8266, and they run a UDP server. Raspberry Pi will command them via UDP. Okay. So first circuit is Wi-Fi to IR circuit. So IR commands are already programmed into ESP8266. Raspberry Pi will simply trigger them. Smart box, so it's like I have used ESP8266 and connect them with the relays. So I have connected lights to port number 1, and you can control the lights with your voice command in the entire system. But technically, you can connect any device of your choice. The third one are blinds control. So I have used a stepper motor, two stepper motors actually. One is to open and close the blinds, that is unipolar stepper motor, and another is to pull the blind. So that is actually bipolar stepper motor. I can connect my Raspberry Pi over the Bluetooth to the Google Home as well. I mean, it is connected over the Wi-Fi that is there, but in addition to that, it will also be connected over the Bluetooth. And if Fancy needs to say anything, it can be played over the Bluetooth from the via Google Home. So that will be like a Google Home will be. It will be like a Google Home is talking with us without any trigger. Now let's look at a demo.
Alright, for this demo, first of all, lights inside my room are off. As soon as we enter the room, PIR sensor should detect our movement and turn on the light automatically. So let's try it out. There you go. Here is a PIR sensor which has detected our movements, and it has turned on this light which is connected to the smart box right over here. There are two more ports, but we are not using them right now. We can also control these lights with the voice commands like this. Hey Google, ask Fancy to turn off lights.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to turn off lights.
Now we can turn it back on. Hey Google, ask Fancy to turn on lights.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to turn on lights.
In addition to that, we can also control these blinds over here. First of all, let's try to open them with a voice command. Hey Google, ask Fancy to give me some sunshine.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to give me some sunshine.
So the upper unipolar step motor is rotating in one direction and blinds are opening. Now let's close these blinds. Hey Google, ask Fancy to take away my sunshine.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to take away my sunshine.
Now the motor will rotate in opposite direction and blinds will be closed. We can also pull up the entire blinds. So let's try that thing out now. Hey Google, ask Fancy to pull up the blinds.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to pull up the blinds.
Now we can pull down the blinds like this. Hey Google, ask Fancy to pull down the blinds.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to pull down the blinds.
And here is our circuit for blind control. Alright, for this demo we will be controlling our TV with the voice commands. So here we have our Google Home and our Wi-Fi to IR circuit. Now let's try to turn on the TV first. Hey Google, ask Fancy to turn on TV.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to turn on TV.
There you go. Now let's try to increase TV volume. Hey Google, ask Fancy to increase TV volume by 7.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to increase TV volume by 7.
Now let's try to decrease TV volume. Hey Google, ask Fancy to decrease TV volume by 5.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to decrease TV volume by 5.
Now let's try to switch to HDMI 2. Hey Google, ask Fancy to switch TV to HDMI 2.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to switch TV to HDMI 2.
There you go. Alright, for this demo we will be controlling this spider bot. First of all we will try to control it with the IR remote that comes along with this spider bot. Left and then right. So now let's try to control it with our Wi-Fi to IR circuits using voice commands. So here's our circuit. Hey Google, ask Fancy to move SpiderBot forward.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to move SpiderBot forward.
Hey Google, ask Fancy to move SpiderBot right.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to move SpiderBot right.
Hey Google, ask Fancy to stop SpiderBot.
Okay, I have asked Fancy to stop SpiderBot.